Welcome to the ONSTAGE podcast, where we interview musicians and members of the entertainment community. So, everyone, we have Elisabeth and Lily Jackson, who are from the SistersJ. They're a music duo and sisters, and they have been perfecting the harmony since a very young age, and they play some pretty good instruments. So let's start with you, Elisabeth. Can you give me a little bit of history of who you are and why you're into music, and then we'll ask the same question with Lily, even though she's in the same room, so she's going to hear you, so you better tell the truth.
Well, let's see. Mom raised us on music. So did our dad. It was kind of used as an outlet for us growing up, like listening to music and dancing. And she showed us a lot of orchestral music, which I found such a love for, and ended up falling in love playing the clarinet when I was 11, and stayed in band until, well, now, and that hasn't stopped. Um, and I remember being 11 years old and realizing this is what I want to do with my life. Now, this is the short version, obviously. Um, Music and writing, just in general, was an outlet that our mother gave us to help us get through things. Like if we couldn't verbally say how we felt, she was like, write it down, dance it out. You got to do something. So, music not only has been such a beautiful thing in our lives to help us just kind of recenter ourselves, but it's become a passion for me. I know for Lily as well. Art as well for her. She's really cool. Um, but I started playing clarinet at 11, and then pursued it throughout middle school and high school. And I taught myself to play guitar, piano, and saxophone because I just love learning how to play instruments. And then in college, I pursued a music degree in music education because I not only love to perform, but I love to teach as well. Um, and now I am in grad school, continuing on that path. So it's been uh, not the easiest journey. That's life is not necessarily easy, but having a wonderful family, mother and father, the rest of our family, friends, and such a supportive group has been really wonderful. And getting to do music with my sister has been really, really wonderful as well. That's kind of an overview, the short version, I guess. But it's
Yeah,
been
and she's
really.
around you all the time.
Yeah, but she's also around me. She has to deal with me.
That's true.
So, why the clarinet?
I remember wanting to learn to play the saxophone, but if we're being honest, renting the instruments, the clarinet was cheaper. But then, well, there's that. But also, a lot of my friends were playing it, but I tried it, and once I could finally get a sound out of it, it was just so cool. I was like, "Whoa, I did this! I'm making music out of this instrument." And then I fell in love with it. My best friend played saxophone, and we would just honk on those horns for hours at a time. And it was really, really fun. I don't know why, really. It's just has stayed with me forever, but I love making music through it. It's a beautiful instrument because you can play just about every genre on it, not only classical music, you can play pop, a lot of jazz. You can do a lot with it. It's a really versatile horn, which I could talk about forever, but it's one of my
So,
favorite things in life.
yeah, so with the reeds that you need, like the mouthpieces, those have to be interchanged all the time.
The reeds, yes, it's definitely an investment, um, but which it's been cool trying to figure out what reeds work best with what horns and mouthpieces. That's kind of I just did a huge research project on that actually in grad school. Um, but I'm trying to look for new mouthpieces right now because the horn I play on is not your typical horn, which I didn't know until grad school. But it's been a really cool experience trying to figure out how to go about learning more about the instrument that I've played for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
When you mentioned clarinet, I'm reminded of that movie, Mr. Holland's Opus. Remember Glenn Holland, the music teacher? I don't know if you ever seen the movie.
I have not, but I'll put it on my list.
Okay, so you should, because I'm mentioning a certain scene in there. One of the students, a red-haired girl,
Uh-huh.
uh, who will be played in the later years by a wonderful actress by the name of Joanna Gleason, but a younger version of her, another actress. She had problems playing the clarinet, so she takes the clarinet and she tries to play it, and then when she gets to a certain tune, you get a squeak. In order to get above that, Mr. Holland had to say, "Okay, think of a sunset. Now play the sunset." Is that how you would play your clarinet, by just thinking of a beautiful sunset and being able to play the beautiful music? Is that how your vision goes, or?
Sometimes. Yes, that definitely helps because if I'm thinking about every note individually, then my brain short circuits and I can't play. So when I think, a lot of the times, especially with really beautiful lyrical music, I associate it with, like you say, a sunset or something that I think is really beautiful, and it helps to it helps me to play. It's really interesting how imagery really, really helps us as musicians. It's such a beautiful language that we use.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Everyone understands music, right? Uh, and it just kind of heals the soul, especially, I've heard while we were on the shore of a really beautiful lake, and there's a bunch of us around, and one of the guys pulls out bagpipes and starts playing it. I'm just like, oh, wow, am I in heaven? It was great. Like, I love the sound of the bagpipes.
I do
Um,
too.
can you tell me what the captivating recital called 10,000 Hours? What was that about? Is that actual 10,000 hours, or was that just the name of it?
It's
A
not
long
10,000
time.
hours. It's I chose that title because, and now I'm not a master by any means, but the saying goes that after you've done something for 10 years, or quote unquote 10,000 hours, then you have somewhat mastered what
Hmm.
you do. It takes 10 years to quote unquote master something. Now, I'd like to say I am, but I'm not. I'm still learning a lot. But I
Hmm.
wanted to kind of say that I've put in this work over the years. I started when I was 11, finishing and having my senior recital. I had been playing for 10 years at the time, and so that's just what came to me. It's like, I've been doing this for this long. See how much I've grown since day one, kind of thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Have you ever thought of picking up the violin or doing something?
I do play guitar. I'm self-taught. I'm not the greatest guitar player, but I do love string instruments. And Lily plays violin and cello, and we're trying to get our brother to play violin. He plays a little bit as well. Those instruments are beautiful. They take a lot of discipline to learn them. Most instruments do, but they're just beautiful. I love the sound of a string instrument.
That's awesome. So, what vocal range do you think you have? Are you a soprano? Are you an alto?
I did choir for a long time, and so I always sang soprano, but I know I can do alto if I want to. Lily can sing higher than me, and a lot of the times when we're singing, I'll sing more of the lower stuff, but she can also do that too. So we kind of
I'd say we both have a pretty good range.
That's awesome.
to an extent.
Lily, how about you? So, give me a little bit of background of who you are. I know who you are, but and personally, like whatever got you to get into music, play the cello, and join your sister in a nice harmonic style in the group called SistersJ.
Well, I'd say to me, it feels like we've kind of been on that music journey together for forever. Like Elizabeth said, we've been listening to like orchestral music since we were kids, and that became a part of just stuff that we loved together, but also to listen to together. We would run around the house to the music, just being silly when we were kids. And as we got older, we did musical theater together, and that's kind of where like our voices, at least I like to think, is where we found our voices, and the training that we had through that. I was 9 when she was you were 12,
Yeah,
11.
12, 13.
It's been a long time. But that's kind of like where we started learning our voices. And then EJ, when she got to middle school and started playing instruments, I loved coming to see the live music. That's a totally different experience. And something that I love about music, it will always stay with me, is that music always tells a story. And I think that's just something that makes it so beautiful. And I always want to keep it in my life because of that. And as I got older, I wanted to do band too. Now, I do play violin and cello, but my main instrument is flute. I learned that in middle school. I wasn't able to take it to high school with me, but I still play it. And I'm self taught on piano. But I always loved that music could create things that we can't even see, though we know it's a story, and it's very comforting. And it's funny about that is that I love stories in any form, not just music. Like, even if it's literally just a written story in a book, which I am also a writer and I'm working on my own story right now, but also through art. That's another thing that stayed with me throughout my entire life. Mom says that I've been drawing since I was like, I don't think even one. I don't know. But like, as soon as I got pencil and paper, I was drawing apparently. I don't remember much, but like, I've always been drawing. And just how I loved how music could also help me see stories through art too. And I love how creativity can bring out stories in anything. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And it's kind of where I am now. We want to share stories with our music together because we've always done music together. I wouldn't want to sing with anyone else a duo. I'll say that. She's also the one that taught me how to do harmonies. Elisabeth is. She said, "Here, Lily, sing this note. It's 3 notes above mine." And then I remember that night. Do you remember that?
I do. That was like,
you were like, "Lily, do this," and I was like, "Okay," and I did it. And then after that, I was like, "Oh, something clicked." Like, I don't know what it was, but it was a blessing.
she can hear counter melodies like nobody I've not met before.
I
It's
don't
so
know how, but it happens, and I'm grateful for that. Um, but yeah, we want to share just stories and uplifting messages through our music because I mean, music is such a beautiful thing.
That's amazing. Lily, what do you find is the better instrument? Do you prefer to play the cello, the violin, or play the flute?
Hmm. I mean, out of those 3 instruments, I'd say flute because that's like my favorite. I do love the cello though. I love its deep sound, and I have to say I like the cello more than the violin. It's harder to play though, um, but I love the sound. Um, Out of the 3 though, I think it's flute. However, I do love playing on piano as well. So all you have to do is press the note, and it happens. You don't have to move a bow across a string or blow it, but you know what I mean. It's
I
still
know.
it's still fun.
Yeah, I had several violinists on the podcast, and I remember talking about rosin, you
The
know,
rosin, yeah, the
rosin
resin, yeah.
and strings, and how what type of uh, violins or fiddle, as they call them, uh, the different type of wood. I've seen fiberglass violins that are like glass. There's actually talk about guitars. There's a Lego guitar which is playable. There's someone out there that can literally build a guitar out of a cigar box. You can build a guitar out of everything. But yeah, with the violin, I saw someone with a violin who used like one of these pens, like a big pen, and just plays the strings, or you can use like a carrot or something. It's really interesting. But if you love music, you'll do anything to produce that music, even if you, like I've seen someone born without arms played the guitar with their feet. It was amazing, amazing.
It's a
That's very talented, Lily, having to know the cello and the violin. But whenever you, so it says here you're illustrating the children's books, like you mentioned, you created um, the open when cover. What's that one about?
The song or the cover?
Yeah.
Well, the song. The song is about open wind, like an open wind box. So it's this is more of Elizabeth's story than it is mine.
You want me to tell it really quick?
Yeah, you tell it.
So I know there are people I know everywhere who have done these before, but when a few friends of mine graduated from high school, we gave them a box of things to take to college, like open when letters, like open when you need advice, open when you need a hug, open when you're having boy troubles, blah, 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 blah. It could be anything. And I got one when I graduated high school, and sometimes our mom would send me one when I went away to school because I went away further. Um, and so we thought that idea and concept was really cool. So we put it into a song, me, my mom, and her writing partner, Thornton. And the song's like open when you need a new song, kind of sending letters to a loved one. It could be a friend, a romantic, in a romantic situation, or just a family member. And so it's open to the interpretation of the audience, but we all have people that we love that are far away. And sending a letter a lot of the times is much more genuine. And so that's the idea of the song. And then Lily, talk about the cover.
The cover, my idea of it was it's a girl writing a letter and the open wind box is next to her. But I specifically remember Elizabeth doing this in her room. And that's kind of what I imagined when I drew the drawing. And I always saw pink with the song, so the background is pink. But that's kind of what the idea of the drawing was. I didn't want to show the face because it could be anyone that's writing the letters. But yeah, that was kind of my idea behind the drawing.
Am I under the impression that your violin is pink?
She had one that was
Okay,
pink.
listen, in 3rd grade, my grandfather gave me a pink violin that was sparkly, but it never worked. It was really cheap, kind of because of the what it was made out of, the material. So like, yeah, I stopped playing violin then when I was in 3rd grade, but then I got back into it a couple years ago when I started playing cello. Now, I do play my cello more than my violin, but yeah.
But it was pink.
It was pink.
Yeah. Like when you play the violin, you're like this, and you can't really see the notes. You have to go like this. But with the guitar, you're going like this. So, do you think it's easier to play the guitar because you're looking at the strings this way? Otherwise, you're going like this, looking at it like this way, and you're like this, and
Well, either way, you kind of have to look at both hands. So, with either instrument, the guitar, you have to look that way.
I do think violin and cello are harder because if you move your hand at all, it changes the intonation of the pitch. Whereas when you're playing guitar, you have frets, and so it's easier to play. Just depends.
So, are you good enough to play blindfolded?
I don't know. I'm gonna try that though. That would be fun.
You should do it. I'll blindfold you. You'll be playing during a concert, and I'll come up behind you and put a blindfold on you, and I won't tell you.
Well, what are your thoughts when you see bass guitarists in a band going like behind their back? What do you think of those? What do you think of that?
You know someone who could do that.
What do you think of that? Like how?
It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it blows my mind when people can play like that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a good family friend that can do that. I'm like, how? I don't think he even knows how. So I mean,
he's actually the son of Melanie from the 70s.
Yes, this roller skate. I remember that.
Yes. So
she's a friend of ours.
She's a friend of ours. We grew up with her granddaughters.
yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
brand new key girl.
Yeah. We
Oh
can
my
set
goodness.
that up. Oh,
Awesome.
we love her. We just saw her last week.
New Year's Day.
Oh
New Year's
yeah,
Day.
that'd be
We're
great.
at a New Year's
This is
Day party.
awesome.
Yeah, hey Chris, we saw her New Year's Day, and she is still touring, which is absolutely amazing. And she actually, you know what I'll send you? She just did a recording of The Night Before Christmas, reading it. And her son, Bo, who's one of the most brilliant musicians I've ever met in this. Oh my gosh, he's incredible. He did this whole green screen thing with her, and it's so cool looking. So I'll send it to you.
She is fabulous. I was listening to that song when I was a kid. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. I love it. Oh my God. Thank you, Lord. This is awesome.
Isn't that amazing? So I was working on her. I was working on her biography with her daughter, and it'll take a long time to do. But I've written the first chapter of when she stepped on stage at Woodstock. When she went on, she was a nobody. When she walked off, she was famous in front of 500,000 people. But the story of her getting there is just really fascinating.
Would she be? Would she love? I would love to hear her talk about what it was like to be at Woodstock. Did she meet actually Jimi Hendrix and all them?
Oh yes, she's met all of those people. Now the funny thing about it is that she never did drugs. So like all these people, like that's one of the questions that people always ask her, and people that we know from the 70s, because the girl's radio promoter was one of the first Leonard Skinner band members. He's an original Leonard Skinner band member, Stephen
I feel
Rent.
like crying right now. I feel like crying. Oh my God.
Amazing the people that you get to meet in your life.
Answer the prayer. This is awesome. I was thinking of reaching out, and then you're like, hey, well, just hand her to me on a silver platter. Why not? Awesome.
What a small world.
It's a very small world. Yeah, absolutely. But it's really kind of cool because it's funny because Stephen's told Lily and I, Elisabeth hasn't met Stephen in person. He comes to Nashville sometimes, but he's actually talked to him on the phone as well as about some of his stories, because Thornton and I are supposed to be writing his stories and life is very busy right now. But the stories, he has the stories of the drugged up, crazy, passing out, throw water on him, stick him on stage. He's got those stories. But Melanie didn't do any of that stuff. So she was like back in her tour bus hanging out, because she didn't do the drugs and everything. So like, she's like, I don't have those kind of stories for people,
But how did you, how do you know her? Like, how did that happen?
Well, her daughter, so she has 3 kids. Yeah. And her daughter, Layla, her oldest, used to live down the street from us here in where we live, near Nashville. So we've been friends it's been 20 years we've been friends. No, 25 years almost we've been friends.
And then Layla's daughters are some of our childhood best friends that we went to school with and have grown up with. It's been really, really cool.
So we met Melanie first at family events down at their house before her husband died. And he died 10, 11 years ago. Yeah, because Kingston was born, I think, after he died. Right, yeah. But they were in New York, and she had a concert, and he had dropped her off, and he went to Best Buy or somewhere. He died in line. He dropped dead from a heart attack talking about her to the person who was checking him out.
Oh, wow.
And so she was there outside waiting, and then he never showed up. It was really, she couldn't perform for quite a long time.
I don't blame her for that.
I'd love to talk to her. I would love to book her and talk to her about Woodstock and Melanie's, brand new key. And please, I'd love to.
She was flown in on a helicopter. They were going to have Woodstock somewhere else, and they ended up in a field in Upper New York using somebody's farm field. And the traffic was so bad that she and some of the other artists had to be flown in on a helicopter.
I didn't know that. That's
so when they were flying over all these people, she's like, where are all these people? What's happening? Because she thought she was going to some small festival in a field somewhere.
Wasn't it a small festival?
Yeah, and so she was in this tiny little tent, and all she had was like this wooden chair and a table. And I'm trying to think of who. I'm trying to think of who all the people. I'd have to go back and read what I've written down, but all the people that were there in these other tents, with her, and she was there, and it was hours and hours and hours and hours and hours before they called her, and then it got dark, and then it started raining. I think she went on at like 1 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's when everybody turned they turned their light. They had their matches, and they did the lights, and that's kind of where that started. And then she wrote Beautiful People. I think was written after her experience at Woodstock.
Wow. Well, I know that I already have 6 questions already to ask her regarding that tune, Brand New Key, because I'd be interested when she's got a brand new pair of roller skates. Who is the guy with the key? So
okay. I'll have to let you ask her that question because I don't know the answer to that.
No, but once I talk to her, it'd be kind of interesting to find out what her experiences is on Woodstock, talking to Jimi Hendrix, all those people. I would actually have to write down everyone that appeared at Woodstock and just tailor all these questions for her, because this is like a dream come true. Next to having Sting on my podcast one day. But anyway.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I love this. Ever since I started this 2 years ago, I just had wonderful people on like you. And it's funny because when I said to the Lord, can you bring more Christian artists on? Boom, instantly Caden contacted me. I'm like, wow, okay, that was quick.
That was
wow.
So God can do anything. I'm not even gonna. I'm gonna believe God. Can I have like an apple cream pie? Someone knock on the door and give me one. Can you imagine?
So
oh, hold on. No, but you know what I mean. It's just amazing meeting you and finding out all this info. I actually love it. So okay, so where did I end off with Lily with the question so that I know where to edit?
People on guitars.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
Okay, continue on. Thanks, Mary.
Oh, thank you. I'll be back if you want to see. I'll be here.
Okay, continue on. So continue on.
Yes. Bo, like, so playing guitar like this, I've only seen a few people be able to do that, and it's so cool. And I cannot do that right now. I've never tried, but I just, not only are they playing phenomenally, but like holding on to the guitar like that, like how do you?
I wonder if Ted could do it.
I don't know, but all I know is that this is the year where I'm going to learn the bass guitar, and the first song I'm going to learn is the one that's usually banned in many music shops, and that's the and the Thunderstruck song. That one is actually banned in music stores too.
That's like our dad's favorite song.
So I'm literally going to go into, we have what is called Long McQuaid's, which music store, and when you want to get a guitar, they're all on one wall. If you want a violin, they're all on one wall. They have everything there. I'm going to walk in and say, hey, guys. Call the police now. Call the police. And be in the paper with people like this. And it said, man does not give a crap whether he... Anyway.
Well, if you do that, please take video because I want to see.
I won't put it on TikTok.
You should.
So, Lily, it says you're a talented artist. Now, I figured you do a lot of illustrating of your mom's books, or?
I have only illustrated actually like one of her books. It's one book she co-wrote with Thornton Klein. He was my cello teacher. He taught me cello, but he's also the reason I was able to become an illustrator, because he's also a children's author. Anyways, the book is called Cheers from Heaven. It's a little grade reader, and it's about these kids who feel guilty about bullying another kid who had a disease that he's no longer around anymore. But then they try to figure out, is there a way we can forgive ourselves, and they grow to be better kids through that experience. It's a really cute story. I did the cover for it a couple years ago, but I think it's getting like republished again, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
so like, and I might do some more of the illustrations, like redo them again, because my art's changed a lot since then. But it was a fun story to illustrate. I've done some other grade readers for Thornton Klein, and I've done 2 other kids' picture books, so younger kids. The first one I ever did was called Lizzie the Librarian. It's just a cute little story about these kids who go get help from a librarian, and they all fall in love with her. It's really cute. Then I did another kids book. It was the last thing I illustrated, I believe. Yes, at least since then. But it's called Poetic Pete, and it's about this little kid who he writes little poems and stuff, and it's really cute because he stands up for himself and becomes friends with the bully that was bullying him instead, and it's a really cute story. But yeah, that's what I've done so far, illustration wise, other than our album covers, because I fixed up all our album covers and stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah, we knew a designer. He's passed last year, but he designed all the record covers for like Pink Floyd, Bruce Cockburn.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, look him up. His name's Mike Wycraft. He did a lot. And when like everyone's connected some way, you always find someone who knows somebody who knows Kevin Bacon, sort of thing. And this guy actually illustrated a lot of like, I think he did Rush's album. I think he
Really?
did, yeah. So he did a lot of albums.
That's so cool.
But so Lily, if you could do one thing, if it's like, okay, I can only do one thing and go with it, what would that be? Violin, cello, piano,
Like instrument wise?
illustration? Just only one. Yeah, you have to go in that one direction. What would it be?
One instrument?
One instrument.
Okay. I was like, does that involve my voice or
No, you can sing. I know.
Okay.
I know voice is an instrument, but
Hmm.
it says, okay, Lily, you can grab one instrument. That's the instrument you're gonna be using. You're gonna be singing with. Nothing else, and you have to give up illustrating children's books too.
That's sad. Okay, it's between
Just a
I'd
question.
say it's like between flute and piano. But
I'm just trying to imagine you playing flute and then dropping it down to sing for a second and then putting the flute back up here.
that's what I was trying to
I
imagine.
know that's impossible. You can't play the flute and listen to ventriloquist. You're playing it. Stop playing. What? Excuse me? Stop talking to me. What? Stop playing it. Look at my mouth. Why? You know.
I mean, I probably would say flute because that was like the first instrument that I loved playing, and I went full out. I played it with all my heart, and I mean, I won some competition stuff with it too, which was fun. The flute holds a place in my heart. So
You have a beautiful tone.
besides, I never got to perform with my flute for like our singing stuff, so that'd be cool to do sometime.
We should do that. I'll bring mine out.
We should do a flute and clarinet duet sometime.
Yeah, I actually kind of wondering how did you know that both of you would work well together? Because what if you're flute playing and your guitar playing, or your cello playing, or your guitar? What if it didn't work? What if it didn't match up? What if it's like, oh, sorry, I can't do anything with you, Lily. You just have to go on your own. Like, how did you know that would work? How did you know you'd harmonize properly?
I think through practice is really how we figured any of it out. But I remember when I was 16, I got hit in the face with a ton of inspiration for songwriting. I just kind of like exploded with a bunch of stuff. And every time I play guitar, a lot of times I'll hear melodies and like then I hear other things too. But like I needed somebody to help me bring that to life. And I was like, Lily, get your butt over here. Help me with this. And it's like the same like instance of when I was like, just do this and then we'll figure it out from here.
And I'd be pissed off because I wanted to go do something else, and then I just sit there and sing, and then we actually had fun.
I
Don't look at me like that.
But because we've done it for so long, we figured out each other's tendencies. And a lot of the times when we're listening to other music, we'll end up singing the same like harmony line that we've come up with. And it's like, you took my line. No, you took my line kind of thing.
It's sometimes we'll be singing and she'll accidentally sing my part in the harmony, and then I can switch to her part sometimes.
That's true. There's
And
a lot of things that we've done together for so long that we can switch parts, which is really fun. And it's interesting how people will say that our voices sound the exact same. Like our producer, like if he's not looking at us, he won't know who's talking to him.
Hugo, who said that? It's really funny.
And like
sometimes mom can't even tell who's talking. It's really funny.
Yeah. But when we're singing, I know we know who's singing because we can hear our own voices. And if you listen long enough, you can hear the tendencies. But there was one, we just did like a mini Christmas EP with some Christmas carols, and we were showing it to our grandmother, and she said one of them sounded different. And it was because Lily was singing the lead and I was on the harmony part. And so the colors and the tone quality was a little, well, not the tone quality, the colors were different. But a lot of the times you wouldn't be able to tell just because our voices are similar when we're harmonizing. But it's really cool and fun to have found that out about ourselves just through messing around with music and then like actually really making something of it together, because there's nobody else that I can do this with. And it's so much fun because we'll pick a song that we both like and then we'll be like, okay, let's figure this out. And then we've been doing it so long that we have, like I said, the same tendencies that we can just kind of make stuff up together, which is really, really fun. Just like give us a chord progression and we'll figure some harmonies out and other melodies. And it's really, really fun to do that because we get to be creative together. We get to bring music and stories to life, because I always say that like music says the things that we can't physically speak, that words fail to, where words fail, music speaks. That's what I'm trying to say. But it's been really cool to see how this does work, because when we were younger, we fought all the time, as sisters do, siblings do. And then as we've grown up, we've become more like we're built-in best friends. And then when we have this music and art stuff, we can really, really share that together. And it creates a more deeper bond, I can't speak today. I'm sorry. A deeper bond. It's been really, really wonderful.
It's nice because it's like we both have our own dreams. They both go in different directions. Like we're both doing different things and stuff. But we also have a dream together, which is really cool. So
that's amazing. But how about mental health? How do you share in each other's mental health? Do you have like alone time? I just want to be alone with, I'm in my dark place, sort of attitude.
Well, most of the time when we want to be alone, we actually go to each other, like when we're dealing with our own stuff, because we know we can talk to each other about it and process together. And we have grown to where it's like we won't be affected by that other person's stuff, if that makes sense. So like if Elisabeth has a problem, I'm not going to get upset because now I feel sad. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. But like
yes.
But like we know how to be there for each other, I guess to say, and we have safe spaces for each other. Now if we do actually want alone time, it's rarely like without them being there, I guess.
But we can also ask for that and be like, hey, I love you, but I need to be by myself. And the other person's
we're all
like,
empaths, so we gotta have that empath.
We gotta have our introvert time.
Very much.
We've learned to, we don't get offended by it. We're like, hey, I understand. Go be in your dark little corner. Like you said.
I want to write by myself.
That's fine. Go in your room.
Okay.
Well, do you both like to watch corny Christmas Hallmark movies together? Lacey Chabert, your favorite?
He likes to watch them. Elisabeth and Mom like to watch those films.
I love them.
I love them too. I love making fun of them.
They're fun to make fun of.
I do that with Mom, and it's been really fun, especially over the holidays when I'm home and we can actually just sit down and watch a Hallmark film, because some of them are good, some of them are not so good. But
no, I know. So I have my favorites too. Like my favorite is Mingle All the Way.
that.
That's my favorite.
I love it. That's one of my
Favorite one, yeah. Well, there's one with Lacey Chabert called The Christmas Waltz, where he teaches her how to waltz, and that's an excellent one. And no matter how stupid it is, I'm still sitting there watching it. I got a really nice Christmas tree. I have sometimes I have the virtual fire going, and I kind of like to hear the crackling sound, even though it's not real, and then it's totally quiet, and I just like listening and thinking and stuff like that. But there are times when I just want to have the TV in the background with some movie because I want to hear somebody talking, like they're in the room. I don't want to be totally, alone and say, "Oh, what are you around?" It's my cat. Hey, come here, Hannah. Can I talk to you a minute? And you can talk to your cat, but they won't have any bad thing to say about you. It's a Halloween cat because she's black, but
Oh,
That's so
yeah.
cool.
But yeah, so could you both or one of you, whatever, share a particular moment that you consider a turning point in your life, like a childhood memory or something?
turning point, as in.
Yeah,
Like
like
for
for
us
instance,
individually or for our music career?
like were there challenges or setbacks that in hindsight played a crucial role in your personal development?
Mhm.
Like a particular moment, like this set me to go in this direction, and without this, it would have gotten in this direction. So stuff like that.
How much time do you have?
Well, I love talking to you, so I got a couple weeks.
This has been really fun. Yes,
I
Lily,
don't know how long I can stay though.
no, Lily, do you want to go first, or do you want me to?
I can.
Okay.
So like a turning point for me in the challenges.
Kind of set you on the path that you're on today.
So now we start at the beginning. When I was younger, when I was born, really, I was born with a speech impediment and like developmental delay stuff, Asperger's and all that. I was really bad at reading stories and stuff. Like I couldn't read very well. I couldn't comprehend what I was reading. That's a better way to say it. I didn't speak clearly until I was 4 years old.
Wow.
And that was a hard time for me. I don't really remember it because I was 4. Mom does. She remembers everything, but she helped me through that time. And I know during that time, that's when I was doing a lot of art because that's kind of how I spoke and what I loved. And art has always been a part of my life. And I'm grateful to my mom. And when I was younger, there was something I went through when I was 5 in my preschool class. I won't go into details because I don't want to, but that was really rough for me for a majority of my life. I struggled with a lot of anxiety and all that. But as I got older, through the help of my mom and my family and God, I was able to overcome most of that. I am realizing now that I still struggle with some of that, but I'm still overcoming it. But I did find that the creative arts were my outlets during this time, and they helped me express myself and tell stories. And I was able to see the beauty in this ability to create that God has blessed us with. And what was it? It was around the time we actually started our music because we recorded the songs for Mom's books. And around that time, I was like, Mom got her children books published. And I was like, well, if Mom can do it, then maybe I can do it. So I loved the idea of always telling stories. I had always made characters since I was like, you can ask my childhood friends. They're like, Lily was always drawing, making characters and stuff. But I wanted to see if I can write a story for myself. And I started making this YA sci-fi story about little superheroes.
It's really good.
I'm still writing it. And through that, I was like, I realized what I wanted to do is that I wanted to make stories that shared good messages that I had been shared with and things I had overcome. Because, like, if someone else can do it, then so can you. If I could show a character that they can overcome these obstacles, then so can you. And I wanted to share those stories. And where was it going? But I wanted to go further with sharing those stories through a movie or TV show, because I started getting really into some like animated shows and movies. I love stories, like I said, but I wanted to do that too and bring my stories to life. And that's why I'm at an animation right now at Lipscomb, bringing those to life. And it's really cool to think about where I am right now, because seeing where I am right now, I know when I was younger and I couldn't read very well, I'd be like, no, I'm never going to be an author. I'm never going to write. My book is 550 pages. And because of that, because of writing, I can actually read better now. And it's really cool to see that. And along this journey, of course, music has always helped me and always been a part of my life. And yeah, that's a
How about
good
the
overall.
Bible? How about the
Huh?
Bible? Did you have a problem reading that?
Yes, but it was interesting. I had to read it for school assignments and learn Bible verses, but being in church more often and stuff, and having chapel every week at school, and then Bible class every day, that honestly helped me start understanding. I'm like, oh, I can actually interpretate this better. And at our school that we went to, it was the King James version, so it was a little harder to read.
A little bit more complex on top of it.
But I think because of that, I can actually understand other Bible versions that are a little easier, obviously, a little
English
better.
Standard Version is one. Another one is a Legacy Standard Bible. It's also another
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. Wow, amazing. But I struggled too when I was younger to read, but it's a little easier for me to read now. I mean, I don't have Asperger's. Anyway, I don't
Uh,
have the type of burgers that you can't eat. I have. Sorry. No, please don't send me any rude comments about
it's
Asperger's
fine.
because I'm familiar with it. Familiar with it, everyone. Um, Now, how
It's
about
okay.
you, Elizabeth? Do you have problems reading and uh,
No, she could read.
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I've always loved reading and writing. I think what I struggled with was to explain what's in here to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
And like it made sense up here, which is why I think I was so drawn to, well, aside from the fact that mom helped give us those tools, because she saw that one, we both struggled with different things but similar things at the same time. um, and she said write it down. And I still today, like, if I can't speak how I want to, I will go and I'll write it down, and like for speeches and stuff, blah blah blah, blah. But um, I gravitated towards music because it helped explain things the way I felt they should be explained, or how I understood them, because words didn't do it justice in my mind. Or a lot of times, if my emotions are really big, I struggle to get words out. And so playing music was kind of like a saving grace for me in my life. And God has been so good in providing um, me with those opportunities, and helping mom um, put us on those paths to give us the opportunities to play more. Like, how, for example, when I was in high school, our band program was underdeveloped, and I knew I wanted to do music in my life. And so that wasn't going to get me to where it needed to. And so she looked elsewhere to find um, different programs that I could do outside of school that were going to help propel me forward. Thanks. And I think that's another reason why I gravitate towards songwriting so much, is because I think it's a beautiful art form that you can, how do I say this? You can say things through song that you wouldn't say like if we're talking like this. And I didn't realize how long I had been writing poetry until mom found some of my old stuff from when I was like 10 and 11, and I went back and read it and was like, who is this kid? That was really good. What? But then, there are other times where it's like, oh my God, we're not letting that see the light of day. But that's how I felt at the time, or vice versa. But music and writing and learning those tools has helped me get to where I am today. Because okay, um, if I didn't have those things, I don't know where I would be today. Um, and of course, God has been so good in providing all of these tools for me. But I look back at, because I'm in grad school now, and that still blows my mind. It's like I went through college, I did all of those things. I played music in high school, I wrote music, we have sung music every time we perform. And then I reflect back on it, like the only reason we're here is because of God and obviously our family, but those things are intertwined. It's like, yes, we wrote these things, like if we're writing together, or like our most recent song, Breathe In. uh, because I pray a lot, like, God, give me the words to speak, because I can't do it myself. Um, and like with any instrument, writing, it's like it's practice. So I've gotten a lot better about speaking my mind, but music has definitely been a tool that has helped me along that path and grow into the person that I am today.
Which is
And
amazing, very inspirational. But Lily, what about talking about Asperger's and not being able to read proper? What about song lyrics? How is that to you? Being able to read song lyrics, is it difficult?
Like, no, I I feel like it's different almost. I mean, I have to read over something sometimes once or twice. I don't have much of like trouble now. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, Lord. Um, to me, music lyrics were simpler because it's like one line and then you have to actually jump somewhere to the next line. However, when it's like three stacked on top of each other and the stack, you know what I'm talking about? And you have to figure out where's the soprano line. I get mixed up
Mhm.
sometimes, but it's okay. I mean, I still get the music. Sometimes I'm better learner by listening than I am from reading, I've noticed. I know reading sheet music was a little difficult, and it's been a while, so I'd have to get back into doing that and retrain myself. But I wouldn't say that I struggled too much with it. I just might have to go back and look at it again.
And Elizabeth, are you patient with Lily? Are you like upset sometimes when it says right there, read it? I can read it. How come you can't? Or are you like, oh no, it's okay. Look, once upon a time. Say it after me. Well,
Yeah.
no. No, seriously, how does that work for you? You're trying to teach her to read, or trying to teach her to. Well, you can do that on your own. You don't need Elizabeth to help you, right, Lily? You can do that
Nah,
on your own.
mom mainly helped me with that, but I'd say like I struggled like that much when I was really, really, really little. Can't remember much of that, but more like like you're reading a book sometimes
Mhm.
and you can't remember what you just read.
Yeah.
You have to read over it a couple times. That's
that's
mainly what I struggle with sometimes, but I'd have to say that most of those have gone away now
which
because
is awesome.
writing helped me so much, I have to say. And I love writing. It's so cool.
Is it possible to grow out of Asperger's? Because one of my friends, Jenna, she believe it or not, she's a kindergarten teacher, but she has Asperger's, and I'm thinking, how does that work? Because you're mute, you sort of have the sort of selective mutism, and yet you're a teacher, so and you have Asperger's. So how does that work? So have you ever, Lily? Have you ever? So you don't want people to know you have it. So, like, how do you navigate through challenging situations besides Asperger's? Like, what kind of have you faced and what did you do to navigate through them?
Like not overcoming, but like growing from having the
Well, let's say
Yeah, what are they called?
Let's say you discovered that you had Asperger's. What was the first thing you did? Did you tell your mom, or did you say, I can get through this on my own? Or did you say, Mom, I need help? Because she's an author
Well,
herself, so.
I would most likely tell mom, and I know she'd be able to help me. She is an advocate for
Special needs.
special needs kids. I also have like autism and a bunch of other stuff, but um, with mom's help, when I was younger and stuff, I went through a lot of like people that specialized in that stuff to help me process things, because technically my brain is wired differently when I have the astigmatism, not astigmatism, the special, that's, what is the word, you know what I'm talking about, Lisa?
Don't ask me now. I
I
forgot
can't
it.
remember what it is. I know I feel so bad, but
It's just like your brain is wired differently. It does.
yeah,
It's
so
like
I just learn differently, and that's okay. I know how to process things in the way that I process it, if that makes sense. And like, I'm
Wow.
gonna learn differently from someone else. Like, I will say, standardized testing, I can't do standardized testing. It doesn't work for me
Huh.
because my brain works differently. If I'm going to learn something that's forced, like a set in stone like test, I can actually do it, and I will learn, and I will like get a good grade. But if it's standardized testing, which is random, I will not know what I'm doing, and I cannot function.
How do you process grief? And Elizabeth, how do you process grief? Can you give me like an idea of what's the difference between someone with Asperger's and someone that doesn't?
I'd have to say, when it comes to like, if something, well, we are if something happened
recently.
like recently, it's hard for me to react to it at first. It takes me a while to process things. Like, it takes a little bit while. It takes a while for me for it to hit me, if that makes sense. Like, at first, I'll be like, "It's okay," and usually, like, it. Let's say it was a passing of a family member. I won't. I don't normally. I guess emotional when I first hear it, but if I'm at the funeral and I see everything, that's kind of when it hits me. It's to show, I guess, my process. I guess it takes me a little longer to process. It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain because I'm still learning this about myself.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I understand the grieving process. It's sort of like just the emotional roller coaster you go through when you lose a loved one. Anyway, enough about me. So, how about you, Elizabeth?
See, it's difficult because I feel like her and I process things like that very similarly. Because so I have ADHD,
Mm.
and I've just tried to do a lot of research, just figuring out um, more about that and how I can. I've learned how to function just because I've learned differently than other people, and as a future educator, that's something that I try to keep in mind because not every child learns the same way. And as a child who learned things differently, that was very frustrating when I had teachers say, "No, you have to do it this way. You cannot do it any other way." And I was like, "Oh, I don't understand it this way, but I do this way. Can I do it this way?"
Yeah.
And they say no, and that's why, side tangent. Um, yeah, standardized testing, in my opinion, is not a great test of intelligence. Because everybody learns differently, and people are smart in different areas of life. Blah 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 blah. I tend to. I've gotten a lot better, but I do also. It takes me a minute to process things. Like, specifically with what we were talking about, it takes a minute for things to hit me. Like, I'll understand it, but for it to like sink in sometimes takes a minute, if that makes sense. But
Yeah, I know what you mean. Everyone processes it differently. Wow, your stories are so inspirational. Um, I actually wanted to get into your Breathe In song. What's your songwriting process? Is it the lyrics first, the music first? How do you put it together?
So it's been since I write poetry, a lot of the time it's been lyrics first, and then I kind of see how it works with the music. But as of late, I've heard more melodies in my head rather than having lyrics first. So it's been kind of an interesting process to see how I've grown with that. And Breathe In was actually written in 2016, so a hot minute ago. But I remember having inspiration to write a song that was more like a lullaby, and I wanted it to be for people who struggle with anxiety or just people in general who struggle with stress, which is just about everybody in some form, you know?
Not me.
Exactly.
Kidding.
And I remember not exactly knowing where to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the words just kind of came to me, and it's taken me a while to like figure out exactly where, but 100% the words came from God. And I remember Lily with me trying to finish the song, and it's interesting because I've kind of it's not the best word, but psychoanalyzed the song, just figuring out exactly where it came from because I was like, these words just came to me. Okay, so what do they mean? Yeah, I understand the surface meaning, but what's the deeper meaning to it? Because I always love to understand the context of a song and where it came from to understand the depth behind it. Um, and the song, sorry, excuse me, is like, lay your head down beside me, forget all your worries. And to me, that's God saying, come rest at my feet and just breathe. Because the first thing we forget to do in life when we get stressed is breathe. We forget to breathe. And then, like, the second half of the song is um, remember how I held you, your embrace against mine, heart to heart, just forget the world.
Mm-hmm.
God tells us to, forget the world. We're supposed to be in the world, but not of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And also another lyric is, "That's what you told me. You said you love me, but I don't understand it at all." And God's love is so hard to comprehend because of how big it is. And when these words just kind of hit me, I've got the shakes right now because it just gives me chills. It's such a beautiful thing that God gave us, and Lily really, really helped bring it to life because we had a basic melody, and then Lily was like, "This." And I was like, "Yes."
I don't know how this happened, but it did.
But it did. And we showed it to, I remember having this kind of revelation in college when I was singing it. And I was by myself, but I was at a coffee shop doing an open mic night, and I remember kind of explaining the song, and then it just kind of hit me, and I was like, "Hey, God, I see what you want me to say. I'm going to say it." And then we've kind of just taken it and ran with it. And when we met our producer, Ted Theo Perlman, the legendary Ted Theo Perlman, he's really cool. We showed him this song and he really liked it. And then we were going to go and record it, but we altered it a little bit. And so we have like the original version of the song that's very, holds a really beautiful place in our hearts that we like to perform on occasion, but we kind of took it and changed it a little bit. Lily was like, what if we added an actual breathing sound? Just take a minute to breathe because that's what the song is about. And I was like, that's genius. And Ted really liked it too. Well, yeah, because I wasn't there for that, but
I like it when the music actually tells the story of the song too.
But you do understand that breathe in when you said how about it's. Did you know that Yahweh, it's breathe in, right? So that's amazing there in itself.
That is also another thing. I love that because that recently, just that aspect of the actual breathing sound is Yahweh. I am that I am.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that gives me chills because like we all breathe. Everything that has life breathes. So we're speaking God's name every time we breathe, and it just I've got the chills. It's just so beautiful. And the original name of the song was "Who You Are," because I've always thought in life, well, God has told me this again and again. If you can just breathe and remember who you are and who made you and find your foundation again, then you can kind of relax and figure things out a little bit better. But Lily, who was it? Was it you or Ted that was like, why don't we call it Breathe In? Because that makes more sense.
It wasn't me, it was Ted.
Oh, well, it was still a really important piece of the puzzle. And so then we went and recorded it, and it's not a lullaby, but it still has some, and this way that we ended up writing it originally didn't end up being a lullaby either, but I still think it's such a beautiful song. It's one of my favorites that we've put out. It's so much fun to perform live. And yes, and we recorded it this past summer, June 2023, and we filmed a music video because the idea was to bridge the gap between diversity and inclusivity, because the world needs more love, and we're all people. We're all going through similar things, and we're all people is the most important thing, no matter who we are, no matter what we struggle
Starman
with.
videos.
Like, let me think. Oh, so in the video we have a lot of kids and different people from various backgrounds, kids who are on the spectrum with autism and Down syndrome, and our brother is in the video as well. We love him. He's playing the drums. He's 10, and he does have autism as well. So we wanted to just bring all people together because there's so much diversity in this world.
I've met so many with autism. Yeah.
Stimming.
And just when you talk to, it's like, I don't know if you've seen Rain Man with Dustin Hoffman. That's a savant. Check that one out, Dustin Hoffman. That's a savant, and he plays it really well. He actually won an Oscar for that. But there's several different forms, and it's terrible when someone has, like, they can't. I'm not saying they can't do anything, because I know. Because I'll tell you one thing. You start complaining about how bad you play the guitar, and I'll show you someone that plays the piano with his feet. That'll make you think, oh, I guess everything is okay. You know what I mean? Yeah, God has a way of teaching you things,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen a video of somebody playing the French horn with their feet, like which that blew my mind.
What?
It's like,
what?
Yes, I'll have to find the video to send it
Please?
to you. They have it on like stand, and they're playing, but they don't have arms, but they're playing the keys with their feet.
Yes. But what about Clearly? I love that. That song, Clearly. So how did you form that one?
That one was also written in 2016. A lot happened in that year.
That one's older than the other one.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's older. That's the oldest one.
One of the oldest ones.
The ones that we've recorded.
Oh, yeah. That was our second song that we put out. And Thornton Klein, Mom's writing partner, Lily's cello teacher, author, he really liked that song. He said it was the most commercial sounding song that I had written. I originally wrote it when I was a little 16-year-old girl, infatuated with the boy I was dating at the time. The song does serve a different purpose now, but it's how I felt, and going back at those words now, it's how I feel for the boy I'm dating now. But we like to, like I said earlier, we like to leave our songs open to the interpretation of our audience, because for me, it was a love song, but for somebody else, it could be how they feel for a family member or a friend, like a platonic relationship, because you could meet somebody and they could help you see the world more clearly. I tried to say both at the same time. And that song, I almost didn't necessarily have a process for it. It just kind of came. I remember writing it on the guitar, and it had a very upbeat, just rhythmic sound to it, rather than just because the melody came from the actual lyrics rather than just the chords. And at first, Lily she came up with these counter melodies in the back, this oohs. We called her the ooh girl for a while.
I don't remember that.
Well, Mom called you that.
Yeah. And then I know because of like when you started this song, that was around the time you taught me harmonies.
Yeah, it was. Yes, because we really did more harmony stuff where we were singing the lines together through Breathe In and the worship song that we wrote. And so clearly has always, I had trouble explaining, like we talked earlier, explaining things. And so with music and just with other things in general, I've always associated it with colors. And I don't know, and like there are people who have, synesthesia, who see colors when they hear music. And I don't know if I wouldn't be as bold to say that I have that, but I definitely feel colors. So I don't know how to describe it, but with clearly I've seen it as like blue, like different shades of blue, like the sky, and then maybe some other greenish colors, especially. And a lot of those colors influence our albums, like the covers, like how Lily talked about earlier with Open Wind, how it was more of like a pink orangey kind of feel, and I felt the same way, and that's why she designed it that way. I'm going off topic now, but I actually, going back to Melanie, her daughter Layla that we know, she's a songwriter, and I remember going to her saying, I have this song, what do you think? What should I do? And we were actually sitting in our living room. I remember she's like, I really like this. You should go up here. Try this. And then I did. And I was like, wow, I really like this. And that's where the song ended up. And we didn't really do many changes to it when we recorded it with Ted. We just added the clearly in there rather than just going into another verse. And I really like that song because it's a happy song. It's an uplifting, happy song. It's one of my favorites.
Wow. I actually told my brother yesterday, like, for instance, let me show you something. So I found 4 songs that I wrote back in my 20s. One of them is called Never Had a Chance, and the other one is called Into My Life, which talks about, accepting Christ. And then I wrote one called I Want to Be Free, which I wrote in 1985. It's all on foolscap. You'll never probably write anything on foolscap because it's old school. And then audio tapes. And then I have one from Kmart. And I told him yesterday I wanted to actually get these redone, and maybe I could release a couple of my songs on Spotify. So
you should.
I digress in here. But I loved your songs, Clearly and Breathe In. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, you're good.
But you did For Good from Wicked. I'm surprised. You ever thought of doing Burn from Hamilton?
Yes, that's one of my favorites. So we grew up doing.
Why not?
That's the next one on our list. So Wicked was probably my first theater obsession, and I love Wicked. And then Lily and I did musical theater, and Mom used to act and do a bunch of things like that. So that's just kind of like in our lives. And our uncle loves theater, and so that just kind of is where our influences were. But I love the song For Good. Everybody loves that song, and I feel like it's used at a lot of graduations and things. But that performance, that recording of it, was done at my my vocal recital that I put on my senior year of college. So I did my clarinet recital, and then I was also taking classical voice when I was in undergrad, and wanted to put on a recital to say, hey, this is what I've also studied. I couldn't do it all in one recital because of the way that the college was set up. So I put it on afterwards. And in doing that, I could do more of what I wanted rather than like getting a grade. And so I was like, I want to do For Good with Lily. I want to bring her up with me at the end. So after I had done my Italian set, my German set, my French set, and then my English art song set. I was like, okay, Lily, we're going to do this at the end. And it was one of my favorite things that we did. Because earlier in that recital, I also did a duet with my boyfriend because he is in vocal music ed and he's fantastic, really, really talented guy. But it was really special that I got to do that with my sister, got to do For Good.
Yeah.
And we need to do more musical theater stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
our producer, he teases us about that because, like, we both have had theatrical training and I've had classical training. And then bringing us out of that into our quote unquote normal voices is interesting because our commercial sound it's very different from other things, but now we're kind of just trying to blend it all because that's what our sound is.
Oh
And
yeah,
so,
I can think of several covers that you could do, like from maybe Burn from Hamilton.
that one's so
Um,
felt out.
maybe something from Mary Poppins or all these other things. Maybe you can do one from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your voices are pristine. Like you can probably sing anything. You can even probably call the pizza place and say, "We want a large with pepperoni," and Lily can go, "Oh yeah."
Oh my God, you should do
And
that.
that could be a hit. It'd be like
That'd
millions
be
of
so
downloads.
funny.
And people would like play it to them. Hey, let's play that Sisters J pizza song. I think it'd be good.
You should do a
You're,
TikTok with that.
you're really good, actually.
Oh, thank you. You're so
That
kind.
would be so freaky if we like figured out our order and then did it in harmony at the same time, and we just drove up to the
The
thingy,
order.
the
We should
order
do
line thing, and we're just like singing in harmony, and the person's like, "Can you repeat that?"
Hey, if
We
we
should
do that,
That'd be so
Yeah.
funny.
no, go ahead.
we should maybe discuss with you, your mom, or what about maybe having you girls perform for us on this platform. Like
Oh,
we
really?
did a concert with our friend. She was really good, and she played for like 3 hours, but it was fantastic. That
Really?
we might
Wow.
even get you to play for us.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be
Let's do it.
wonderful.
That
That'd
would be
so
really
much fun.
cool.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. But before we
You're such
go,
Talk
can you
to.
each give us a word of advice to up and coming Sisters J or Brother J's out there?
Lily, do you want me to go or do you want to go?
If you're younger and your sibling seems like your enemy, they won't be when you're older. They're your
Thank
best friend. Don't forget it.
I was
Wow.
gonna say,
I'm messing.
well, completely something very, very different. I was gonna say connections are very important,
Yeah.
which they are, and practice, but listen to the world around you, see what other people are doing, but also like you can
Stay
let
true
that
to yourself.
influence you, but yeah, stay true to yourself because people love new stuff and original things, and like you can take from what's popular but make it your own. And
There's only one you out there.
that's true. Also, collaboration is so much fun, and you learn so much from collabing with people, which that's
Creativity tenfold.
yes. And just reach out to people, see if you can do interviews. Like, thank you so much for having us on here. It's been really fun to talk to you.
Oh,
And,
thanks a lot. We appreciate that.
How can we help support you and share things?
Yes. So when I post this edited version, which will be probably 4 minutes long, no, just joking. When I edit this podcast, I'm going to eliminate that part, some parts, and what is it, an hour and 25? I'll cut it down to like 110 or something, like just some, Um, yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So what I do is I do like this 1 minute promo on my Facebook page, the Onstage Music Podcast Facebook page. A minute
Mhm.
promo of all my podcasts to kind of wet people's whistle, so that they can go and watch the actual podcast when there's a premiere date, which you'll have on it, and you can share it and bring people to like and subscribe, and bring more people to me. Bring more people.
Will do.
Yeah, I can't wait. Oh, God. I don't even think I have any words to even say God is good, because I know God is good, but you got to praise Him in the storm as well. Don't forget that.
Amen.
This is, what's
Amen.
that song? Is it Natalie Grant? Said, "Praise Him in the storm." I can't remember the name. I think it's Natalie Grant. Can't remember, but this song called "Praise Him in the Storm," and it's a really good song.
Yes, there's also another worship song. I cannot remember who it's by, but it's called "Praise Before My Breakthrough." It's just you have to pray in the storm. You pray no matter the circumstances.
I know, and I want to be humble about it. And yes, so when I post this, you can share it, and I'll send you the link. And so blessed, and yes, I want you guys to perform. I don't know though when you have time, maybe next couple of months, whatever. There you
Yeah.
are. Have your daughters perform on the platform, and then
Yes, yes, absolutely.
and hook you up too for podcasts. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd love to, Chris. And it's really amazing how many folks are in our circle that
Mm-hmm.
are all Christian based. It really is such a treat.
It's a
Um,
blessing.
that we have, we're
Yes.
keeping Christ at the center of what we're doing. And so he keeps just filling our world, this,
Yeah.
inner circle of people that we work with and get to,
Yeah.
their interview a week ago, the guy in Virginia, he was we just said he's this lover. So, it's really wonderful because it
Amazing.
seems like there's not so many of us out there in the world and
I
there's not so
know.
many of us doing this kind of stuff. And so it's really been refreshing to
Mhm.
just be surrounded by it. The girl's music producer, my writing partner and their label, our theater, the guy who runs our theater that we do a lot of stuff with, and lots of other folks. So it's just we're really grateful for it.
I am totally like so humbled by all this. Thank you so much, Mary. Really appreciate it. And Lily and Elizabeth, you've been so amazing. So let's end this. Okay, edit.
Okay.
Everyone, the
let's
Sisters
get
J,
you.
Elizabeth and Lily, and the two songs Clearly and Breathe In will be linked down below, and including their Spotify and all their socials and their biography and everything will be listed there. And amazing. Go to the YouTube channel, listen to Breathe In, watch Clearly. It's amazing. And they also do other interviews, which they have posted as well. And I think an interview with Ted Perlman, their music producer, who's very famous. Stick with him. Like he'll stick with him. Like he'll make you platinum, no problem. Oh yeah.
If we don't beat him up first, no, I'm kidding. No, we're
But
joking.
but I really appreciate this. Okay, everyone, we're gonna end the stream. So see you, Lily. See you, Elizabeth.